Hi everyone, I'm just doing a quick video of this little golden book that I just finished. It's the first one that I've ever done, but I think I did pretty well on it. The binding is done with little buttons. These are all antique buttons that I bought from a man whose wife was an antique collector of buttons and different types of things, and she had bought these from a lady who had traveled all around the United States to do button shows and things, to sell buttons and collect new buttons and that type of thing. So I just really love the history of all of the buttons that I have from there, but I really have no need to keep all the buttons that I have. So I'm really tickled that I've come across this journal making because I can start using some of them in my books. I did put a little pom-pom trim around the edge just to dress it up a little bit, a strip of lace on either side of the binding. And in the corner, I put a little snippet of the fabric from the binding and lace and another button. I left the inside cover unembellished because of the little I don't know what you call it, but so that someone can fill in a name or whatever, or if you're crafty and you don't like that, you could always cover it up with something. So, and then I just wanted to point out that all of the white cuffs and tuck spots and pockets that you see throughout the journal comes from Ephemera's Vintage Garden. And all of my papers like this came from Paper Moon on Etsy. And then some of my journaling cards I'll show as I get further into the book came from Roxy Creations kits. So I appreciate being able to use all of these items to make a book of my own. In the first tuck spot, I just included just a plain piece of this paper, and I folded it into a trifold so that there was plenty of space to write or create on. And then I have a journal card in there as well. And on the back of it, you can journal. On the next page, I have sketchbook paper if you're an artist and like to draw, or if you doodle, or this paper is perfect for writing. And then on this page, I have an embroidered, a picture of an embroidered piece. And then this is a journal card from one of Roxy Creations kits. And I'm sorry, I can't tell you which one because I've bought several. So, and then on the back of this, I just took a picture of a quilt and used that for a journal spot. The book is fully intact, and it's all set up the way that that you would read it, so that if you wanted to read the book, you can still do that. And I folded the page in so that you didn't lose any of it. And if you wanted, you could probably glue the edges and make that another tuck spot, but the book is pretty chunky, so I chose not to do that. The book has wonderful illustrations. And then I included another book that had some nursery rhyme type poetry on it. Very different. It was a vintage book, so it's got some very different types of illustrations and things that I thought were really nice. I did a fabric flip here, and then behind is plenty of room to journal. This is just a avocado print paper. It's not the actual thing, it's a copy. And then this came from a recipe book. included some Edith Holden in this book. Another journal card. More poetry. This was a vintage book on American homes. And then I included a piece of children's writing paper. I love that. It makes me instantly smell crayons and glue from my elementary days, and I'm 55 years old, so it's pretty awesome that that smell comes back to me whenever I see that paper. And I just put in one of these slips of paper. I actually use this for my granddaughters when I give them spelling tests. We have a whole stack of that paper that we use. It comes in pretty handy for that. Another floral page. I made a pocket, a side pocket here, using different pieces of embroidered fabric pictures and illustrations, that type of thing. Another Roxy Creations card. This was from her Easter kit, I believe, but I love bunnies, and I think it fit in so well with this, I didn't care that it was Easter. And then on the back is just a printout of an embroidery doily. More of the book pages. Vintage ad. This came out of a costume book that I had. Then I included a little brown paper sack, and I filled it with lots of things to write and journal on. That little bunny, he's so cute. This is just a blank card that I found that I thought looked pretty in here. This is a piece of actual coffee dyed paper. Has a nice texture to it. And I used a stencil to create that pattern on it. Piece of old map. Another one of those pockets from Ephemera's Garden. And a couple more journal cards. Another one using photos of old quilts that I believe this was mine. It could have been Roxy Creations, but I think it was mine. Another pocket with more journaling cards. Something that you'll see a lot in my books that I do. I rarely put just one tag. I feel like it looks much better if you vary the tags and the papers inside. And then that just gives you extra writing space. And this book I had was on everything vintage, so it was a really nice one to use in this book. I used some washi tape on the binding edge. Another pocket with 3 more tags. This is just the back side of that card. Nice to journal on this side, and then I put a picture of a nest of eggs on here. I thought it complemented this book page. So it came from a drawing book, and I don't know if you can really pick it up on here or not, but it's a line drawing of an iris. It would be pretty if someone filled in the colors on that. This book has 2 signatures. We're almost to the end of the first signature. Tuck spot made out of the Edith Holden book page. Another vintage ad. Another pocket. A quilt illustration. And that's the end of the first signature. I love cars like that. Fiats. I have always wanted one, but I have 6 grandchildren, so it's not very practical to have a little tiny car like that. Unless I wanted to pull a wagon behind, and I'm not sure that my grandkids would go for that. I know their parents would not. I forget the name of this book, but it was a really neat one, and it was just filled of photographs of Paris, and they went by the colors. Each chapter was a different color, and it was just a beautiful book. Another pocket with 3 journaling cards in it. Another little note card. Smaller book page. A little pocket with 2 journal cards. Costume book page. More journal cards. Another map page. These pretty little dresses. My granny used to make dresses for me, and they looked a lot like that. She would make a dress for herself, and then whatever material she had left over, she would make something for me, and usually it was a dress with little bloomers. A journal card is in here, and then 2 little pieces of the paper with room to write something on the back. Another page from the home book. Another fabric flip. Same fabric as the binding. Another piece of coffee dyed paper. This time I used a stencil of a doily. Another brown stack with journal cards and papers tucked inside. This one I just folded in half. Picture of an old quilt on the back of that journal card. This was from Roxy Creations with another picture of an old quilt. And this is probably not very user-friendly, but I thought it was pretty. I took the leftover strips of some of the papers and wove them together, and then I sewed them just to add some texture inside the book. Something I think I saw Texas Freckles from Etsy do that on one of her videos, and I thought it was so cute. I wanted to try it myself. I think I said already that this is my first journal that I ever made from a little golden book. And my granddaughter saw it right after I made it and claimed it for her own. So today is her birthday. Happy birthday, Braylee. And this is one of her gifts from her grandma. It will not be the last one that I make, though, because I thoroughly enjoyed the process, and I love that it includes a story with it. There's a tag and a journal card and a couple of pieces of paper to journal in. Another pocket with more journaling space. This one has 2 tags and 2 journaling spots in it. And that's it. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a great day.